Good morning. Welcome to JP's Morning Brief for April 27th, 2026. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I hope that was a very event-filled weekend, and I hope people made the best of it. Let me get my stuff here. All right. Yeah, pretty busy weekend. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. As we get started, I don't know, I'm ramping up on getting everybody in on the live and stuff. Click that follow button if you have not already clicked it. And then please give us a like for the episode. And you can chat. I've got one other chatter in there. It's my buddy Covite for Life. Um, give us a little discussion what y'all want to talk about and stuff. I know there's the big, humongous elephant in the room that everybody wants to talk about, and we'll get to that and just talk about it for a little bit. That because I used to be in that world a couple of decades ago, but I can't believe I had to say a couple of decades ago. But yeah, there's a lot that people can say, and there's a lot that people can't say, and I would rather defer to people in that world. And all these stupid naysayers need to go away. The people that are saying it was staged, it wasn't for real. Talk to the person with a bullet in their body armor. Um, yeah, that it was not fake. Okay. Um, yeah, you don't want to get me on that tangent. But yeah, thank y'all very much for tuning in. I think we got enough people here to get going and stuff. So as we get started, I got a letter. I'm hesitant to read too much about. Okay, I'm going to read a couple, and then I'm going to get involved in this discussion. I'm going to put a stop mark here so I know where to start. Okay, I have a multiple page letter from George Washington, John Hancock for America Do 50 stuff, but I'm going to only read part of it, and then we're going to move on into Iran, which is still out there, and we can't forget about it at all. A lot has happened over the weekend about Iran, and then we have the elephant in the room, and then we have other stuff. I mean, there's no way I'm going to cover this in 30 minutes. All right, so let's get going here before we run out of time. Um, so, letter from General George Washington to John Hancock. This was a 2-day letter from the 25th to the 26th of April. And there not much happened on the 27th, so that's why I was carrying on the whole thing. I received by last evening's post, which is they got a post writer, okay? A letter from Joshua Wentworth, Esquire of Portsmouth, who I had appointed agent for a little fleet in that province. It is dated the 15th, an extract from which I have the honor of transcribing for you personal. The third instant Commodore Manley brought in the frigate Elizabeth. I actually mentioned that the other day in a letter. One of the third division, which sailed from Nantasket with the valuable cargo of English goods and a few hogsheads of rum and sugar by Mr. Jackson, who was a passenger part freighter and very Tory. Supposed the cargo worth 20,000 pounds, whose goods are the greater part owned by the late inhabitants of Boston and by some of were inhabitants. When the troops left it, the residue went by this Mr. Jackson and others of the same cast. The complicated state of this prize required my immediate setting off for Boston, expecting I might find some directions for my government there. When I waited for General Ward, who was obliging enough to give me his opinion, but not able to direct, having received no instruction to this point, that the vessel and cargo must be labeled, and a dividend to the captors who would of all such goods might be legally claimed by Friends of America, and those that was the property of them initial might be decreed forfeited. Upon other inquiry, I was informed I resolved passed to Congress that all vessels and goods retaken previous in the condemnation by a British Court of Admiralty were liable to be a partial decree by every colony judge to the captors not more than one third nor less than one fourth. The present prize falls under the resolve. Any other that may be property to our internal enemies liable for the full confiscation may be necessary for my government. Therefore, shall be such obliged by your full discretion of this capture and a copy of the continental resolves thereon. This frigate, which is owned by Mr. Richard Hart of this town, taken by her own, returned from the West Indies last October and carried into Boston, not command. The rum on board are 1700s and four of sugar, not removed out of her from the time of capture from the cargo which was stolen by the virtue of General Howe's proclamation, which undoubtedly you have seen, appointing one Green Brush superintendent, who, by the way, was taken in a prize and is now confined in the Massachusetts colony with Mr. Jackson and sundry others, by the order of the General Court, to whom General Ward delivered them. All right. So, wow. So that little brigade that was captured last week had 20,000 pounds of goods on it, and a lot of it was rum and sugar. Okay, all right. So here we go. What else? As we march forward, we have my buddy Jason. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier gun source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, professional cleanings to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL's transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need a CHL? Jason can handle those classes. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Coppers Cove, or call or text at 254-560-2023. And just remember, you can go to www.armamentshop.com and see everything he has to say, okay? All right. Onward. So the next one is that one. Okay. So Iran update. I know you'll want to talk about DC, but we'll get to that in just a minute. We got to talk about Iran. The ceasefire is still continuing. As of right now, the talks are off. The Iranian foreign minister flew home Saturday morning, and then the president told Mr. Kushner and Mr. Witkoff, don't fly. All right. Per the Secretary of War, any boat laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, anywhere in the vicinity thereof, will be destroyed. The IDF killed 15 Hezbollah guerrillas in southern Lebanon, and the U.S. Seized 2 more ships in the Indian Ocean. The Israeli Defense Forces downed a suspicious aerial target in Lebanon. The death toll in Lebanon was reported out this weekend since March 2nd is 2,500 in Lebanon. And we have no recourse in that fight. That's just between Israel and Hezbollah. Iranian submits a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. That came out last night. but pushes off nuke talks. I don't know how both of those can be separated from each other because the president said no nuke for Iran at all. So I don't know how they can negotiate that matter, but it ain't my call. It's the president's call. All right. 38 ships to date have been turned back, and the Brent crude oil is trading right now at $107.97 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate is trading at $96.54 a barrel. And Friday's close, remember Friday's close for the Dow Jones was 49,230, and it was down at 79.61. That's your Iran update. All right. So what are we looking at? We're at 641. We're doing fine. All right. Um, so uh, Saturday evening. Saturday evening, we weren't even watching the news. I was going like, okay, I'll catch the highlights later. I spent some time with my wife and daughter. Matter of fact, I just got back from a political event in Gatesville, Texas for raising money for firefighters and stuff. Coyle County Republican Party donated $1,000 uh, to the Firefighters Association up in Gatesville to help fund the volunteer fire departments and for people that lost their jobs in the fire up there. Um, I got home. I was worn out. We were talking about something. We were talking about Marty Supreme because I was like, I recorded that. I have no idea what it's about. And then we were talking about something. Ann said something about watching Princess Bride. Oh, because the wedding we went to Saturday morning had a quote from the Princess Bride in it. I said, I've never seen it. And she said, you'll love it. I was like, I heard bad things. And then Rachel said, maybe we need to watch Baby Driver. I never even heard about that until a couple days ago. And then I said, look, y'all figure out what y'all want to do. I'm going to go check the mail. And it's like 6:40 or something like that. And I'm like, I almost reached the front door to go check the mail, and I got an alert on my phone, on my watch. It said breaking news, shooting reported at White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I was dead in my tracks, stopped, turned around, and said, put it on the news right now. And it went from there. Okay. Uh, now you know what I was doing Saturday night. Um, but I saw everything on replays and what was going on. We kept on news all night. So what it was is a guy named Cole Allen, 31 years old, from Torrance, California. He graduated from Caltech. He was a teacher. He worked for some traveling tutor company. He traveled by train, Amtrak, from Los Angeles to Chicago to Washington, D.C. And he checked in Friday night at the Washington Hilton. Um, and he left some manifesto. I'm not going to read the stupid thing. I Look, he's our president, no matter what. And I've said it over and over again. There's too much rhetoric out there. There's been too many threats, and people just completely hate the man. And he's doing what is best for us. He's been trying since 2017 to do what's best for our country. But there's Democrats out there just preach the hatred, and they just keep at it, whether it's true or false. They just keep pushing it. Even with the SPLC, they wrapped the rhetoric around their hatred for our president and just kept it going. And these people just pop off their stuff and go at it. What led this man to travel all the way from California to LA? I mean, from California all the way to Washington to do that. Where did he keep his weapons? How did he transport those weapons? Where did he get the weapons from? That stuff is going to be peeled away by the Secret Service and the FBI. All right? You got to leave them to that. All this rhetoric I heard over the weekend about Secret Service doesn't know what they're doing. I want to reject that. And there are people out there that I respect in the media that don't know what they're talking about. I lived in that world for 5 years, all right, from 2002 to 2007. They know what they're talking about. And the fact is, you only have to be right one time to do something. We have to be right 100% of the time. We can do our best, but something is going to slip. Lessons learned. Well, I can only say this is my only rhetoric watching the video. Okay. And let's see, when they grabbed the VP first, that was my first concern because it looked like they came from right to left to recover the president and get him out of there, but they reached the vice president first and skull drug him out of the off the dais and out of view, which is right. But my my opinion is that the president comes first no matter what. I don't know why they didn't crash the president and get him out from the other side. That's for them to decide on what best to do in the future and how to better secure that area. Um, the man, see, so continuity good. Okay, the how do you put it? Okay, so you have the White House Military Office, which coordinates everything. Okay, you have you have the successors to the president, which is what you have, and don't buy the stupid designated survivor scenario thing. Okay, that's not true. It's completely fabricated and false. No matter what you hear. Okay, so the way things goes, you have the president, vice president, speaker of the house, senate pro tem, and then you have the cabinet, how they were formed in the government, and plus reorganizations, like in 1947 reorganization of the government. Okay, and then they had another one, and I believe in 2003 when the Department of Homeland Security came along. Right, so you have to be eligible to be president to be in the line of succession. So we know the president and vice president is there, right? Then you have the Speaker of the House, right? He's elected. He has to be a U.S. citizen, right? Same thing with the Senate Pro Tem. So that. You're right there. Now you have the cabinet, right? And just because someone is not at the event, all right, doesn't mean that they are what they call a designated survivor. All of them are designated survivors. Um, and what determines a successor is you have to be eligible to be president, which means you have to be 35 years old and you have to have been born in the U.S. You have to be a naturally born citizen of the United States, right? What disqualifies you from being president is not being 35, not being naturally born, and not being a confirmed secretary in the cabinet of the president, right? So, like when I was with the White House, we were looking at the line of succession. We had to monitor that because we needed to know where they were at all times. All right. Um, in a in any given time, you have two, maybe three unconfirmed secretaries out there, and they're I can't talk about that part. Well, you would know um, if they are eligible to be a successor. Man, I can't really talk too much. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, so if you had to monitor where they were at, and but you needed to know if they were eligible to be a successor, right? And you'd watch all that and stuff, right? Just because you're a designated survivor does not mean you're the designated survivor. Because if you're in an area and there's something happens, and uh, POTUS v. POTUS, the speaker is all killed. The next person would be the Senate Pro Tem, which is the longest serving member of the majority party in the Senate. All right, which right now I believe it is Senator um, uh, Grassley, yeah, Senator Grassley um, from Iowa. Okay, and he's like old. Okay, all right, but you have all these security arrangements need to be kept close hold. Yeah, there's answers that need to be done, but you have to look at the protection of the principles, um, and you really can't go into detail on these big dumb boxes behind me, all right? Because remember, our enemies are watching at all times, and they really don't care. They don't care about us at all, and if we give them a little bit of intel, they're going to game it, right? Uh, so, uh, just a couple. I'm going to show y'all a couple of Truth Socials. This first one I want to show y'all is from the president. They came out Tuesday, Saturday night, I believe. Okay, all right. The first one is quite an evening in D.C. Secret Service and law enforcement did a fantastic job. They acted quickly and bravely. The shooter has been apprehended, and I have recommended that we let the show go on, but we're entirely be guided by law enforcement. They will make a decision shortly. Regardless of that decision, that evening will be much different than planned, and we just plan and we'll just plain let's do it again. President Donald J. Trump. Then the next one was after that with law enforcement requested that we leave the premises consistent with protocol, which we will do immediately. I'll be giving a press conference 30 minutes, which is a really good press conference. Um, from the White House briefing room, the First Lady plus the Vice President, all cabinet members are in perfect condition. We will be speaking to you in a half an hour. I've spoken with all representatives in charge of the event, and we will be rescheduling within 30 days. President Donald J. Trump. Okay. And then, oh, wrong one. That one. Okay, I'll read that one in just a second. And that's exactly what happened. I can tell you one thing that's because it's already been in the press. Once the doors of where the principal has already been open and there's free access, it's over. Okay? So that's why they had to cancel the event. All right? So the next thing that the president put out was this. What happened last night is exactly the reason why our great military, secret service, law enforcement, and for different reasons, every president over the last 150 years have been demanding that a large, safe, and secure ballroom be built on the grounds of the White House. This event would never have happened with the military top secret ballroom currently under construction at the White House. It cannot be built fast enough. While beautiful, it is at the highest level of security features. There is no room sitting on top, for and below the unsecured people to pour in, and it is inside the gates of the most secure building in the world, the White House. The ridiculous ballroom lawsuit brought up by a woman walking her dog who has absolutely no standing to bring such a suit must be dropped immediately. Um, Nothing should be allowed to interfere with its construction, which is on budget and substantially ahead of schedule. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Okay, let me go back to there. All right, so that is what I'm. Okay, so that is very true. That ballroom needs to be built. Um, the other stuff, some of the stuff he was alluding to, doesn't really need to be talked about in the open and stuff. But for security reasons, they do need something on. Matter of fact, they were discussing just a little while. King Charles III is going to be in the country today, right? and they've got a head of state event being done at the White House today, right? And guess where King Charles is going to be in? King Charles is going to be inside of a tent, a big tent on the south grounds of the White House. Ridiculous. Why? He's the president of the United States. We need to have something that's secure and very nice and majestic. That's what I was looking for. And we don't have one. We didn't have one when the other facility was there, right? We will now. And the fact is that you got a small group of people withholding, and you got a judge that wants to prevent this from being done. The let's see, where is it? Senator Tim Sheehy is. Oh wow, I did not print that out. Whoa, I cannot believe I didn't do that. Uh, the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, he actually put out that there's they're addressing the court this morning where the lawsuit is and asking the judge to throw it out so they can progress with building the White House ballroom. Senator Tim Sheehy from Montana is moving this morning, not moving, but he's making a motion to go forward to have the ballroom built, citing safety matters, right? It says Senator Tim Sheehy, Republican Montana, said Sunday he will introduce legislation to approve construction of a White House ballroom following what officials describe as an assassination attempt at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The Republican lawmaker said he plans to seek unanimous consent in the Senate for the measure, arguing that the project is necessary to ensure the safety of the president and other officials attending large events in Washington. What did I just say? King Charles III is going to be in Washington, D.C. at the White House today in a tent. In a tent. Okay? Stupid nonsense, right? You got to deal with security measures, you got mosquitoes, the weather, because, Washington, D.C. is a swamp, if you didn't know that, but it is. And then when we go the other next thing is the partial government shutdown that's still ongoing, which is the Department of Homeland Security. Right now, they're using emergency funds to pay some of these people, the Secret Service, the TSA, and stuff. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, Secretary Mullen said he is almost completely out of that money, right? It's almost gone. We are not paying these people. You have unpaid Secret Service agents. You have unpaid ICE. You have unpaid TSA and other people in that department that are not receiving their pay. And you want to argue with the president about funding the government because your feelings are because ICE is doing their job the way they're supposed to be doing according to federal law. You know what? These Democrats need to get off the fourth point of contact. And they need to say aye and fully fund our government so these law enforcement people can actually do their job and protect the president, the vice president, and any principal on the Secret Service detail that needs protection, along with the TSA to keep our rail system secure, because we had some knucklehead decided he wanted to travel from LA to DC. And he put in a stupid manifesto. He laughed at the security arrangements. Well, when you got people calling in sick and stuff because they're not being paid, what do you expect from the government in terms of security when people can't even work because they're not getting paid? If you were working at Joe Schmo Construction Company and they said, "Oh, we're not going to pay you because we don't have the money to pay you," are you going to go work for free? Most people would say no. They will not do that. The Chucky Schumer and the Democrats need to go ahead and drop the cloture and go ahead and vote to pass the rest of the budget and get it in and get it, because it's only the House passed it. It just has to be approved by the Senate and signed by the president, and then we march forward. It's already 7 o'clock. I want to go over one more thing before I let y'all go, okay? That's how much my notes are, right? We only got it down to here. That's all. That's all right. We'll get it all worked out. We got noon coming up. So last night, the day after this all happened, the president was on 60 Minutes. I don't know why. The stupid lamestream media, they don't know what they're doing. They just want to go at the president, in which Nora O'Donnell did again, right? Headline: Trump called 60 Minutes most disgraceful for reading White House communication correspondence dinner suspects alleged manifesto on air. Why would you do that? President Trump berated CBS News correspondent Nora O'Donnell in 60 Minutes Sunday night after reading from the White House Correspondents' Dinner suspected alleged manifesto. Trump sat down for an interview after authorities identified the suspects as 31-year-old Cole Allen of Torrance, California, adding that he prepared a manifesto outlining his intent to and shared anti-Trump and anti-Christian rhetoric on social media. O'Donnell read alleged portions of the document and alluded concerns over, and I'm not even going to even finish that sentence. And then the president responded, well, I was waiting for you to read that. I knew you would because you're a horrible person, Trump answered. Horrible people, yeah, he did write that. I'm not a blank, and I didn't blank anyone. Who do you think he was referring to? You? And O'Donnell asked, and the president said, I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap like some sick person. I got I got associated with stuff that you have nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself, I'll do this interview, and they'll probably. I, I read the manifesto. He's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself for reading that because I'm not any of those things, Trump said. O'Donnell interrupted to argue that she was quoting from the alleged gunman's words, but Trump continued to call her disgraceful. Absolutely correct. Okay, COVID for life. We dealt with it in Operation Desert Storm. Still, we kept on military strike on. LOL. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna loose lips sink ships. That's right. Um, but what was I gonna say? This lady. I don't know why Paramount keeps her. Was it Scaramount? Sky something, the name of Paramount, the owners, so they need to let her go. And Barry Weiss, he's like, you're out, lady, bye. And then you have, one thing, MS Now was calling out disturbing left-wing theories that the shooter was a false flag. At least they did something smart over on MSNBC and actually showed that, hey, look, guys, it was a real deal. It wasn't fake. There are too many conspiracy theorists out there that don't know what they're talking about. All right. Like I said at the very beginning, and we're going to tailor off and in, I'm not even rating anyone this morning, right? Was that just asked the Secret Service agent that had to pull a bullet out of his body armor Saturday night. Ask him if it was fake, because I guarantee you, I've worn body armor many times in my life, and I would not want to take the chance of someone shooting me in a body armor because it only covers from here up to here, back around, and in the back. You know what? You don't want to take that risk because bullets don't know where they hit. They just hit. and they tear up and destroy everything they impact. All right. It was not fake. It was not a false flag operation. It was the real deal. All right. So I'm going to sign off for this morning, and I will see you all at noon. I'll redo this podcast a little bit better, a lot better, because more information will come out this morning. I was listening for Cash Patel, but evidently they were waiting. He's probably on right now. I have no clue. But I will see y'all back at noon the day central for the JPA report. It'll be episode 380. I'm looking at the slide right now. See, I'm always show prepping, people. All right. But thank y'all for tuning in and letting me do this too for y'all. And like I said, because I was in that world for a while, there's stuff because I value my NDA. And unlike some other people, like the blah, 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 I watch what I say because what you say can get other people killed. And you got to be careful on that, okay? But so I'll sign off. Let's see, what do I say? I'll see you on the flip side. I'm out. Later, y'all. Okay.